नहाने वाला तो नहा गया।
देना पेन मुझे ना साइन करना था।
अरे आज स्कूल में लड़ाई हुई थी तूने?
अरे मुझे पता ही नहीं क्या वो बोलना।
वो ये लोग मिलके एक 11th स्टैंडर्ड के बच्चे को मार रहे थे।
कौन सा क्लास?
थोड़ा सा
येलो हाउस।
वो येलो हाउस में था, पर उसके बाद एक रेड हाउस था, जेई में था। फिर उसको पागल जैसा मार रहे थे, कूद के 5 बन भी पाया था। मर गया। हाँ तो ऑब्वियसली वो भी पाया हुआ है, वो हारेगा।
और मैंने सुना कि बनाना दिखा।
हाँ वो कुछ कर रहा नहीं था, पूरा हंस रहा था।
किधर वो मुझे देखना था फाइव
ग्राउंड में, जब मैं तेरे सामने आके गिरने वाला था।
हाँ
बहुत अच्छी यार।
have to complete so many things of सौम्या कैसे ही देख नहीं पाई। सौम्या थोड़ी क्लास में है ना, नीचे ही है। नहीं
अभी नीडलेस फ्रेंड पे रहा है।
न्यू बेस्ट फ्रेंड कॉलेज की। इसका नाम क्या था? कॉलेज की गट्टू दूसरा था। हाँ ओके ओके। One second. Okay, you tell. I just message my mama and I reached.
See, in the previous class we have studied about
children, women and workers.
French Revolution was instigated through the reforms in the print, or print helped in the French Revolution. We have seen 3 arguments in favor and 3 arguments against it. Correct? Now, it was not that the intellectuals got inspired by that literature or that printing press. There were so many other sections who were inspired or who got so much influence from the print. Here we are going to take 3 sections. We know that in the earlier times that when print was not that much developed, people used to pass this information through mouth to mouth. That is, orally they transfer. And so many types of stories and other kind of activities also there. And people developed this culture, that is oral culture. What is the problem related to this oral culture? Nowadays, if something is told, we forget. If you were told to bring a book, next week, madam, bhul gaya. So this is what the present culture. That means we forget. But in the earlier times, what happened? These all things passed from generation to generation. That is folk tales, folk songs, and many other things passed from generation to generation. Now, when the modern world came and this print developed, then there was a need for that oral literature into the print literature. Whatever earlier were told or were earlier passed from mouth to mouth, this one they wanted to print again. That is why children printing press was started. When was it started? 1857. First printing press for children was set up in France. If you are having that book, take page number 152. Taken? So in that third sentence, children, women and workers, third. A children's trust devoted to literature for children alone was set up in France in 1857. Underline. That was the beginning.
History.
Next, the Grimm brothers, this trust published new works as well as old fairy tales and folk tales. Can you give one example of fairy tale? What is the story about that?
It's a girl with a very long hair, stuck in a tower.
Okay.
Don't know, ma'am. Tangled. Tangled.
Tangle, I did not read or hear about that. Alice in Wonderland is Little Red Riding Hood. So like that, these all things were the stories which passed from generation to generation orally. Now, when the printing press was set up, they began to collect this type of fairy tales and then began to publish it. Clear? So that was the next thing. Then, next point you underline, the Grimm brothers in Germany spent years compiling traditional folk tales gathered from presents. So, who were the first persons in Germany collected and published? The Grimm brothers. Okay. Now, then they have collected, then compiled, and before publishing, it was edited once and then read by the elites, the higher ups or the upper caste people, and then if it is found vulgar, that parts were deleted and then published. So, because what is the peculiarity when the people talk, they talk in the common people language. The language of literature and the common people language are completely different. Understood? So, this one, what was told, the same way it was compiled and edited, then afterwards it was given for the elders to read. When they read and found some problems, it was vulgar for the smaller children, then that part was deleted and then only it was published. Got it? Next one is that rural, anything that was considered unsuitable for children or could appear vulgar to the elites was not included in the published version. Rural folk tales thus acquired a new form. So earlier it was just told. Now it acquired a new form. What was the new form? It was in the printed form. People could read at any time. Understood? Then, print recorded all tales, but also changed them. See, I have told you what was told by the people were in the common people language. Of it just one. Okay, when this kind of changes, when you keep it aside, Katya. So afterwards, what happened? Women became important readers as well as writers. These parts are important. But 2-3 points are coming. Many magazines were especially meant for women, as were manuals teaching proper behavior and housekeeping. So, women magazines were having the content. What was the content? Proper behavior and housekeeping. Okay. When novels began to be written in the 19th century, women were seen as important readers. What is the difference between short stories and novels? Oh, very great. That is, they are just making it elastic or including anything, so that people can get the part by part. We know that serials. How many of you are watching the serials? I don't know. The older that is ladies, they used to watch the serials in the television. So they are eager to know that what happened. So actually 15 minutes also won't be there. If half an hour serial is there, 15 minutes also not that serial part, it's just advertisement and any other thing. But people are eager to see what happened to that story. It is coming serial wise means people are very much interested. Okay, so that is what happened. Then some of the first non-novelists were women. Jane Austen, this three names you mark up. Jane Austen, Brown Sisters, George Eliot. Women novelists. Are you marking?
No, it's already marked. I don't have a pencil.
Okay.
I'm not gonna.
So,
So this chapter only.
who were the three famous writers? Jane Austen, George Eliot, and okay. So women were actually readers as well as writers. So they felt the need of more printed books. At the same time, what happened? The writings become important in defining a new type of woman, a person with will, strength of personality, determination, and power to think. Four qualities are there. Have you seen that? Woman? What were the qualities of a woman according to them? Then,
A person with will, strength of
will, strength of personality, determination, and power to think. Earlier, they were confined to the rooms. They were not having their own thinking capacity. They were harassed, tortured, persecuted.
I mean, they would be labeled as a witch if they came up with a new invention, if they were interested in science.
Yes. So they have willpower. They have thinking capacity. They have their own personality and determination. So all these are the qualities acquired through the reading. Okay. Next is that lending libraries had been in existence from 17th century onwards. What is lending libraries? What happened? Then another thing, sometimes self-educated working class people wrote for themselves. Actually, when education was limited, they were not getting chances for education, but those who are very much interested, they got educated by themselves. And those people write for themselves. What is that is write for themselves in order to earn money? Just writing and then reading, no. They began to write and have some source of income for the living. Another, after the working day was gradually shortened from the mid 19th century, workers had some time for self-improvement and self-expression. Industrialization time, the long working hours were there. So now the working hours reduced and they got so much time for leisure. During this leisure, some people began to write and some people spent their time in reading and getting new knowledge. They wrote political tracts and autobiographies in large numbers. Now, these innovations you have to learn. Say, when this part you just write down what I am writing. Okay, innovations. What is the meaning of these innovations?
Discoveries.
That is new changes invented in that field of printing. We have seen wood block printing to mechanical printing. So in that mechanical printing, what type of innovations were introduced? The first person who introduced the change was that Richard M. Who of New York perfected the power-driven cylindrical press. First, you write now. This one is for reference purpose. Right. Second, this power-driven mechanical presses, cylindrical presses, what was the advantage? They could print 8,000 sheets per hour. You just imagine now when different places, if you are seeing printers, you might have seen. Some printers are capable of making one copy at a time. Some printers are able to take a few copies.
Notebook, right?
What happened?
Explain how print culture works.
Yeah, the original maybe has it.
Right, ma'am. He's asking about the previous classes.
Last class she wrote.
Last class.
Yes, yes. Now, this one 1 hour, how many copies could be printed? 8,000 copies. At that time, it was a great. You just write now. What are you doing? Huh? No. Mobile you give me.
मोबाइल नहीं है मोबाइल
No, ma'am. The provider is not there.
मोबाइल
Then
बोलाता ही नहीं और
what
मेरा
are you
है
doing? Huh? Huh?
वो पेन से वो उसमें पेपर में
Second innovation. What was that? Late 19th century, offset press was developed, which could print up to 6 colors at a time. So, offset press.
Alright?
मैम ये दो ना
Before it was only black and white now.
Up to 6 colors, 6 what is it? 6 colors at a time. You just see that in newspapers and all, different colors that photos, pictures and all are given. So this was very much useful in that newspaper printing. Okay, so next change. Third change was that from the turn of the 20th century, electrically operated presses accelerated printing operation. That is, electrically operated this one speed up. Okay, so in order to increase the speed of printing, electrically operated presses were introduced.
उसको मैं जरा ब्लैक मार्कर लगाता हूँ
This is the one.
मैम वो लाइट है मैं दूसरा लाता हूँ अच्छा वाला इससे आप अच्छे
What
से
about the 19th?
Please.
Please.
Then the accumulation methods of feeding paper improved. Next change. Methods of feeding paper. What is the meaning? How that paper could be fed inside. So that one. Next one, you just do your work. You wanted to.
Black color वाला था ना?
He told me that black is
ब्लू से लिखो
blue only handwriting.
वो लाइट है ना क्या
Then the quality of plates.
अरे पानी तो दे। मैम को मार रहा है।
देख
देवांश ऐसे नहीं करते।
Welcome, ma'am. Ma'am, excuse me, can you please get aside? From now onwards, I have thought that I will speak English.
Very good.
Excellent. I will improve my English because Jolly ma'am doesn't like English. You also, okay? Why?
So these all are the 20th century innovations. Okay, automatic paper reels. Then one more.
Ma'am, today's date.
It is written on the board.
Should 17 days our exams are coming.
It's the first day.
13 May.
Within 17 days. Are you
Board
mad?
exam. Board exam.
Yes.
Yeah. Ma'am, he's acting like a very fool boy.
I am chewing like a cow. Yeah. I will improve my English and I will show it to English man. Let's see how I am speaking.
I am so good at English.
Yes. English, not English.
So these changes were introduced. Methods of
Can you
reading
please
paper.
write darker?
Which one? This one.
All.
You just all. We don't have the talent. I have
See ma'am, these notes only can help us in
Yes.
exam.
Yes. Then
So that's why you write darker.
next one.
So we can see and write.
हाँ मैं आधा से गड्ढे में गिर गया था क्या?
They're actually very good at talking English. Yes. Devanshu is telling you because he cannot talk English.
Oh.
Complete it first.
Yes ma'am, I am completing. I am not sitting.
He is standing.
Yes. See ma'am, now I am standing.
He is sleeping.
And he is standing
He is
upside down.
eating. He is eating.
Ma'am, your chewing is there. Chewing gum.
Anyhow, we have noticed there, no? Somebody else will be, that is like you.
He is jumping. He's crying. He is laughing. He is walking.
Bad boy. Ma'am, are you on Instagram?
No.
Why? Ma'am, excuse me, get aside. Manager. Asta from now onwards, you also talk with me in English.
Okay.
Rujul, you also. Kaluram, you also.
What's his name?
Kaluram.
Black. No, don't say that.
He's my child. So
He's my child.
Oh.
My child.
Are you mad?
Okay, complete it first.
Yes, completing, ma'am. We are not sitting.
हाँ.
Electrically, ma'am. That is
Ah,
electrical. Operated.
first.
Right. Press this. Okay. Speak in English. We study in English medium school.
No, study in Java video.
And you know what is Gaussian medium school? And
You just write Hindi.
and you know Gaussian medium school.
Have it school daily teacher.
I'm a school teacher.
Ma'am, are you teaching in a school?
No.
I think so in Kodar, VPS,
ICL.
Complete it.
ICL? What is ICL?
Mahanagarpalika.
KV. KV.
Which kind you are? Do you teach in the school?
Yes. Which school?
Was or I
Now full time here.
I'm a school teacher.
KV.
Raya, Xavier.
India various schools.
Yeah.
VES Central School.
Where in the US? US.
That was in
Dubai.
Belapur.
What is PES full form?
You just completed it.
Yes. Ma'am, at what time you were?
You just completed it.
Yes. ऐसे बोलते हैं ना कौन से समय पर आप पढ़ाए
Now, these points, this
wait ma'am, we are
understood.
writing.
Understood or not?
Yes.
What you understood? Tell me.
That power driven cylindrical press is
Power driven cylindrical press
is
Richard M.
who?
Richard M. Tempo. Richard M. Tempo. No,
Richard M.
These all changes are introduced in that printing, which speed up the activity and make a lot of changes or introduce lot of changes in the printing process. Finally, what happened? Periodicals were serialized. So, what is that? Big novels. So now in serial way it was introduced so that make the people to get small books or like that, weeklies or monthlies or like that. So the big novel is coming in that form. So its cost is not much. Next is that shilling series were published in England and many other countries, many ways. During the time, what happened?
Today morning I hurt myself on my knee and now my leg twisted.
Shit.
अरे नहीं वो
Oh
चलने को नहीं हो रहा.
no.
तो बेंच का कॉर्नर रखा है जोर से वो मोटी के टेम्पो
So afterwards, what happened? During the time of Great
I don't have
Depression,
respect of books.
last year you have studied about the Great Depression. Studied or not?
Yes.
So Great Depression time.
Excuse me.
Great Depression time, people, publishers feared that there will not be much demand for printed works. So, in order to cope up with that, they started introducing cheap the books on cheap binds. Means it won't be costly. So with consistency was maintained. So that is what happened during that. Next is India and the world of print.
After you know at one time in the one time. One time. In May, one time in May, ma'am was going to teach and Swaris came. Swaris was doing this. So ma'am, I think so ma'am go to Rina ma'am. Went to Rina ma'am and told her. Then Rina ma'am came. No, Mina came. You know that.
What was that one? No. It was,
Sorry, parents were told.
what was that one video?
Baba Bagwali. No, from that no. He was, I think so, not changing the video or something. And you
No,
went
that
to Mina. Baba Bagwali ke gaali di
he was just repeatedly
You were doing something and you went to Mina and told her.
Ma'am, you know, a few days ago I saw Swarik, he was eating to shawarma by himself.
Okay. Completed your work?
English. You know Vishwajot restaurant?
You just write this one. How ideas and information are written before the age of print. Write the question.
And what about India and the world?
That will be. How ideas and information. Sorry, you write. How ideas and information were written don't waste your time.
I'm not wasting my time. I'm writing this.
Before the age of print.
How ideas are written before the
Age of print.
Culture.
Yes. First point. India had an old tradition of handwritten manuscripts. Handwritten manuscripts written in Sanskrit, Arabic,
Wait.
Sanskrit, Arabic, Persian,
Now can you repeat after old tradition?
of handwritten manuscripts
Old tradition of handwritten
written in Sanskrit, Arabic, Persian, and the other vernacular languages.
What a vernacular language.
Is that local language? Here, Maharashtra Marathi is a vernacular language.
Bengal, Bengali.
So, different states, different
Bengal,
languages
Bengali.
are there. So, that is.
And Bengal, Bengali.
Next, manuscripts were copied on not writing.
His leg is paining. She,
His-
her. No, I can't keep my leg straight. I'm not
Go.
Put that painkiller or but I forgot. I thought if I would sleep it would be fine, but then
Any boundaries?
I go to Meena man. अरे वो बोल होता है ना वो एक किस्सा के ऐसा.
Manuscripts were copied on palm leaves or on handmade paper. Pages were illustrated. You write and afterwards
Yes,
you do.
yes.
If you ask again, I will not repeat.
No. After handmade.
paper.
Pages were illustrated. There were
Now what is after beautifully?
illustrated.
Beautifully it is.
There were many problems related to manuscripts. The problems I am writing. They were expensive and fragile. You just copy first, handled carefully.
What is the heading?
I told they were having so many problems. No, that problems only I am writing. Okay. So we have already studied about the problems related to manuscripts. But this, because of that problem, these manuscripts were not widely used. See,
Ma'am, can you show the video?
we will see now first. Let me complete it. So what happened? We know that if have you seen that the palm leaves how it is written inscribed? It is not written; it is inscribed. There is a kind of peculiar nail that with the dots, dots, dots that the alphabets used to be written. So that can be handled, that can be arranged and be carried. But if it is made on paper, if it is written on paper, the size of the paper that it is also fragile, so they cannot carry it and read in any place. So these problems created so much limitations. And at that time, books were not even printed for the students' purpose. The knowledge was transmitted orally. The teacher used to tell from memory, and children used to write. So that was the way they have learned. Okay. Now, who brought print to
Ma'am,
India?
just a second. Yes, now you can.
Print when it came and how it came. The printing press first came to Goa with the Portuguese missionaries. So in India, it came in Goa by Portuguese missionaries. Okay, this is the first thing. Second, what happened? Jesuit priests learned Konkani and printed a tract. Do you know what is tract? In the railway station or bus stops, so small notice like paper used to be distributed to the people for reading purpose. It's a small one. Earlier, it used to contain that religious teachings. Okay, so they can take it, carry it home and sit comfortably at home and then read. So here also many railway stations this tracks used to be anything related to any matter that it tracks. It is a small one piece of paper or a card type. So in that one message is written. So tracks used to be published in which language? Konkani language. In Goa, the language is Konkani. So this religious missionaries, they learned Konkani and then started publishing that books in. Next in 1674, about 50 books have been printed in the Konkani and Kannada language. Which were the languages? Konkani and Kannada languages. How many books were printed? 50 books were printed in 1674. Catholic priests printed the first Tamil book in 1579. This part you have to read, that is the years you have to read. And in 1713, first Malayalam book was printed by them. 1710, Dutch Protestant missionaries had printed 32 Tamil texts, many of them translations of the older work. The English language press did not grow in India till quite late, even though English East India Company began to import presses from the late 17th century. So even though English printing, see when we use the printers should have the language listed. So at that time, they have brought the English language presses, but they did not start printing English matters. In 1780, this part you have to underline, James Augustus Hickey began to edit the Bengal Gazette, a weekly magazine that described itself as a commercial paper open to all but influenced by none. So what was the notice given in that press. Bengal Gazette was an English magazine. They have given that ad like that only. What is that? A commercial paper open to all, influenced by none. Anybody could read, but it was not influenced by anyone. That is what the publication's introduction. Next is that, so it was private English enterprise, proud of its own independence from colonial influence that began English printing in India. See, you just see, when that English press was published, it was not controlled by government. It was a private institution. Then this James Augustus Hickey, himself an Englishman, began to publish whatever are the atrocities the British officers were doing. About the wrong attitudes, he began to publish. So he became an enemy to the British themselves. Did you understand? The British themselves began to write, that person himself began to write about the officers. He was very critical and he was making some kind of what is that, advertisement, and other thing was that a gossip. That was the peculiarity, gossip about the British officers. So they.
Ma'am, can you explain how to manage our time?
You just.
Ma'am, please.
So because of
Please.
Because of that, his newspaper was banned. He was punished.
Please.
Afterwards, the first to appear was the weekly Bengal Gazette, brought out by Gangadhar Bhattacharya, who was close to Rajaram.
Both are Bengal Gazette. difference.
So that is what the one was published by one English person. This was an Indian. And another one, I heard it.
Ma'am, so please tell.
See, actually for this lesson, only 4 hours were allotted to me. Now itself, I have completed 6 hours.
Ma'am, but now you can tell the management that
I will tell afterwards.
children are asking me doubts. So that's why I
Just
am
slow down.
asking
Let
you.
me complete it.
Afterwards,
Definitely, I will do.
मैम definitely नहीं, मेरे को आज से मैं पढ़ाई करना है अभी.
हो गया.
Today itself I will give you. Today itself.
Today नहीं, अभी बताओ. अभी देखो उसके बाद भी अपना लेक्चर.
चली रहा है.
आज तू करेगा.
Okay. Did you get this two personality Bengal Gazette? Who started that Bengal Gazette? No. James Augustus Hickey. He was an English person. Then afterwards, Gangadhar Bhattacharya, who was a associate of Rajaram. Now let us see that the impact of the press on religious reform in India. This part is also very important. Just I have told you I will do it. Before going, this lesson I have to complete, and at the same time, so many things.
Afterwards, I will not disturb. I am promising you. In second lecture,
We will see the videos and we will say I have to complete. That is what my priority. Afterwards, I will do all the things to entertain you. But if any part I miss, I am facing a problem because this part I did not tell my children. I want to include each and everything. That is why otherwise I would have completed by general.
क्या मैंने अभी एक लेक्चर में तो नहीं हो पाएगा, तो आपने अगर किया बोला अभी तो क्या
I'll complete and I will tell you.
Mama, please. Please be quiet.
Next, see, one important development was that religious reform movements. Do you know what is a religious reform movement? Mama, can you tell?
Like,
But then we know that is in our country so many social evils prevail. Caste system, sati,
yes, I know.
untouchability,
Sati means
burning of women. So all these kind of evils prevailed in India. So now to eradicate these evils, print helped a lot. In brief, I am telling. So with the help of this printed matters, people began to understand and started questioning these existing evils, which led to the abolition of certain kind of social evils. Now, if you read, that will help. Page 156 or 155. 155.
Muslim religion.
1.1.
From the
from the
देखो मोटे का फोटो देखना
फाके का
नहीं आदित्य
Ah,
from the early 19th century, as you know, there were intense debates around religious issues. Different groups confronted the changes happening with colonial society in different ways and offered a variety of new interpretations of the beliefs of different peoples. Some criticized existing practices and campaigns from reform, while others countered the arguments of reform. These debates were carried out in public and in print. Printed tracts and newspapers not only spread the new ideas, but they shaped the nature of the debate. Shall I say? A
wider community could now participate in these public discussions and express this view. New ideas emerged through these clashes of opinions. This was a time of intense controversy between social and religious reformers and the Hindu orthodoxy over matters like widow abolition, monotheism, Brahmanical priesthood,
underline these four points. That is widow immolation. What is widow immolation? That is what I told you, sir. Monotheism, Brahmanical priesthood, and idolatry. Yes. It is not abolished, but certain
idolatry is a phrase to idols. So how is that bad? Chal mere go ye Pakistan में क्या पाकिस्तान में पंडित जी को दिखाएगा.
So idolatry, no, but if it is too much idols, that is not good for that. People now get distracted by this god, which I meant to be worshipped. Yeah? So that and too much idol worship was not good. That time, I'm talking. Now people are having that idea whom to worship. So that time it was not like that. That is why it was not a idolatry. Then continue.
in Bengal as the debate developed, tracts and newspapers proliferated,
What is proliferated? Large numbers is coming.
circulating a variety of arguments. To reach a wider audience, the ideas were printed in the everyday spoken language of ordinary people. Ramantra Kabhi Sambad.
This newspapers names you have to. Sambad Kaudi,
from 1821 and the Hindu Orthodoxy Commission, the Samachar Patrika to oppose his opinions.
So, who published Sambat Kaumudi?
Raj Mohan Roy.
Rajaram Mohan Roy. And Hindu Orthodox, in order to counter it, they published Samaja Chandrika. Okay, names you have to remember. From 1822.
In 1822, Parishad newspapers were published. Jai I Jahan Nama.
Jami Jahannama.
Shamshad Akbar.
So this Persian newspapers make because multiple choice if
In
the same year.
newspaper, the Bombay Samachar made its appearance.
Right, 15
मैम हो गया वही 20 सेकंड
1 minute.
1 मिनट में
अरे मेरा 20 तक कर रहा
Ma'am, 30 minutes break, please.
then the question will get over.
8 hours
Yeah.
अरे भाई बहुत सुनिए this one about that ulama serve religious teachers